Oh my goodness, okay. Welcome back to Every Disney Movie Ever. My name is Jess and I'm watching Every Disney Movie Ever. Today I'm going to be talking about Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Men Tell No Tales. Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Men Tell No Tales is a 2017 theatrical release about Henry Turner wanting to break the curse on his father and enlists help to do so. It's directed by Joachim and Espen Sandberg, cinematography by Paul Cameron, editing by Roger Barton and Leigh Folsom Boyd, music by Jeff Zanelli, and it's written by Jeff Nathanson. The film stars Johnny Depp as Captain Jack Sparrow, Javier Bardem as Captain Salazar, Geoffrey Rush as Barbossa, Brenton Thwaites as Henry Turner, and Kaya Scodelario as Karina. As they wrapped up on Stranger Tides, executives told everyone to remain free in the near future because they wanted to film a 5th and 6th back-to-back. That ended up falling through and only a 5th was in the works. Rob Marshall decided to work on Into the Woods instead of this. Gore Verbinski was approached, and Gore Verbinski said there was no foreseeable reason to make this film except for monetary gain and bars. Like, no reason other than financial to make this movie. Like, ugh. Rossio had written an original draft for this, but it involved a female villain, and there were a couple people protesting, and Johnny Depp was one of them because he just finished a movie called Dark Shadows that had a female villain, and he felt it would be redundant because all male villains all the time isn't redundant, but whatever. Roning and Sandberg decided they loved a script that was written by Nathanson that included the Trident of Poseidon. After the Lone Ranger's box office bomb moment, losses, whatever you want to call it, the studio started to question Johnny Depp's bankability, which, sure. There were multiple delays because the studio wanted the script and budget to be right. Johnny Depp ended up helping with the script, which is insane, which I'll talk about later, because he started to feel like this would be the last film and he wanted to end it right. Everyone seemed pleased with the story. They felt it was getting back to its roots. And the directors were really wanting to make sure it was, grounded in a good, heartfelt story. And writers wanted to see if they could get Will and Elizabeth reunited, even if just for a moment. Filming began in February of 2015. They filmed all over the place. They did have to move from Doug Jennings Park on the Spit to Raby Bay because of seasickness. March 10th, 2015, Johnny Depp had to be flown to America for surgery because he was injured on set, and then they wrapped in July. 8 VFX companies worked on the film, and then Roning worked from the end to the middle, and Boyd worked from the end to the middle, and Barton worked from the beginning to the middle, so they kind of met in the middle and then started working on the whole thing together. The film had a $230 to $320 million budget and made $795.9 million in the box office, has a 30% Rotten Tomatoes consensus. Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Men Tell No Tales proves that neither a change in directors nor an undead Javier Bardem is enough to drain this sinking franchise's murky bilge. There was a controversy about getting the monkeys to Australia. It was a very delicate ecosystem. They didn't want to mess with having monkeys in the environment, and then also kind of cruel to the monkeys to fly them on a plane for that extended period of time. As far as the future of this franchise, which I can't believe that's even a sentence, but here we go. The 6th film was a go if 5th did well in home release, which was set up. Then it was pushed back. In 2018, they wanted to give it a shot after Deadpool's success. They brought on a lot of different writers and potential directors. Johnny Depp said he would not return after they cut his contract during his trial with Amber Heard. In 2023, Orlando Bloom said he would be interested in returning. In 2018, Keira Knightley said no. In 2023, Keira Knightley said maybe. In 2023, Depp softened his stance and seemed more willing to return. In 2024, 2 movies are in the works. One is a reboot, and one is Margot Robbie-led. Color me shook. Margot Robbie steered us right with Barbie, so I have faith. I have some thoughts. First of all, this is kind of visual related, but it's also kind of not visual related. right at the beginning, we get to see Will Turner as the captain of the Dutchman, and he has the stuff starting to grow on him. The part that drives me kind of bonkers about this is he's not wet. His hair is dry in that scene, which is insane because they were at the bottom of the ocean. And Davy Jones was soaking wet and had an octopus face, and his crew was dripping wet all the time. So for him to be dry, especially when his kid is wet, makes no sense. So I hated that. The cinematography itself is fine. Good movement. Good visuals. The VFX, on the other hand, I've got some qualms. Young Jack Sparrow, an actual crime. That's some of the worst I've seen in a while. That looked so bad. That was actually laughable. It took me completely out of the movie. I was like, oh no, just get someone that looks like him and tell us it's him. We can suspend our disbelief. But that was bad. That was not cool. And then some of the VFX were giving very, like, fake, tacky VFX. There were just some stuff that was not good. There's stuff that was good, like the sharks, and then all the people that are, like, half dead and exploded. You know, like Captain Salazar looking like he's in water. That was all really well done. And the shark, like, half dead, torn apart sharks, those were pretty cool looking. But then there was just, like, some stuff that was really not good and really tacky looking, and I couldn't believe that because the first 3 Pirates movies, like, set the bar for visual effects. So I could not believe how bad young Jack Sparrow looked. Like, it's laughable. It's long, a bit boring in the middle. The opening music was really great right in the beginning of the film, and then the music itself throughout is very, like, in line with the others, I guess. Nothing stood out particularly to me this time around, but it was fine. This starts pretty strong. It's a really interesting concept. We've got Henry Turner, Will's son, who's now old enough to kind of be trying to go out in the world and basically he's trying to break the curse that the Dutchman has and the ocean has on Will so he can be free and come home and, like, they can be a family, right? And so that's a really interesting concept. Great place, good want, you know, that way, like, he studied all the ocean's curses, he knows about Poseidon's trident, very interesting. He runs into a girl who's been looking for Poseidon's trident because she thinks it's gonna give, like, it's the one thing her father always wanted, and so she wants to do that for her father. And then Jack Sparrow, no goal other than to stop having bad luck, I guess. This movie, like, starts strong, has really good pieces in the beginning, and then in the middle gets a little bogged down with expository information, which is fine. And then the end is interesting. I just have problems. My biggest being, what the heck did they do to Jack Sparrow in this movie? Which, hearing that Johnny Depp helped them is insane to me, because I'm starting to think maybe Johnny Depp didn't have a grasp on Jack Sparrow at all. Because in this movie, Jack is literally just like a glorified, funny, like, character. He is not important to the plot at all. Except he has the compass that everyone needs. And by the way, gives that compass up for just trading for some rum. Jack Sparrow, maybe if he decided he didn't care about the compass, would give it up. But he's had that compass through 4 other movies and made kind of a big deal about it every time. And didn't he at some point let someone use it? Like, didn't he let Elizabeth use the compass? Right? So, like, technically he gave it up, so wouldn't this have happened earlier? So it feels a little retconny. And then, like, for him to give it up so willingly, not knowing that would happen with, like, the devil's triangle stuff, like, that seems unrealistic because he normally tends to know about all the curses on him and he's always trying to get out of them. So, like, that was really uncharacteristic. And then, like, he is, like, more drunk than ever in this movie. And he also, like, is just there to say funny things. Where, like, in the original movies, yeah, Jack was funny and ridiculous. And, like, that's why we like him. He's always a little bit drunk. He's always a little bit, you know, boisterous and a little ridiculous. And his schemes are always, like, half thought out, but they always work out type situation. But, like, Jack had depth. He was like morally on the better side. He would do things like, you know, pirate. Like the fact that he doesn't like connive or like get out of anything or trick anyone for treasure or whatever it is in this, the fact that he's not actively like wanting the trident for himself and then ultimately decides to like give it to whoever or whatever it is, you know what I mean? Like it's just is so, they botched his character. Absolutely, like, Jack Sparrow didn't need to be there. Aubrey read a review after we finished this movie that took me out, and it was like Jack Sparrow became the Jar Jar Binks of Pirates of the Caribbean. And in this movie, I could not agree more. There is no purpose for him to be there, and all of his lines are just like some random one-off joke line, or like is just there for comedic relief, which is insane to me because he's a very interesting character, especially in Black Pearl. And, like, he continued to be interesting in 2 and 3. 4, obviously, is where we start to see the slide down or whatever, but he's still very active in the 4th one. He's the main character in the 4th one. He's not, like, there's no Will Turner or, you know, like, you have Penelope Cruz, but Jack is still, like, this felt like it was Henry and Karina's story and Salazar's story, and Jack was just, like, had to be there because Salazar needed revenge on Jack or whatever, like, to add some kind of villain or something. It was so botched. I couldn't believe how bad they portrayed Jack Sparrow in this movie. The writers didn't understand Jack Sparrow at all. I'm starting to think Johnny Depp didn't understand Jack Sparrow at all. And he had great writers and directors behind him to get what they wanted out of him in the first 3, even 4th. And then the romance between Karina and Henry is severely underdeveloped. You know, in Black Pearl, we have the whole beginning section before the pirates even show up, where it's very obvious that, like, Will and Elizabeth have a history, and then Will obviously very much has a crush on her, but she's above his station, and, like, you know, all this kind of, like, stuff going on, and then they're thrown into this situation, and they fall in love over the course of the movie, and blah, 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 blah. That is so much more well-developed than Karina and Henry. Henry and Karina meet. They are like, oh yeah, this, and then there's like one little moment here, and then by the end of it, like, Jackie's being like, oh, you guys are into each other, and it's like, how? No, they're a boy and a girl. Like, is it because it was giving very much like, man, woman, same age, must fall in love with no development, and people will buy it and eat it and believe it, and no, it was so underdeveloped. The best part of this movie is the twist that Barbosa is Karina's dad. That was a fantastic twist. I was obsessed with that. I thought that was really interesting, really good. Kind of wish they delved a little bit more into that, but it makes the end all that more like, ooh, because when she like realizes and looks at him on that chain and is like, who am I to you? And he says, treasure, and then sacrifices himself to save them all? Come on. Like that gave me chills. Best part of the movie. Like a 10 out of 10 line and like a 2 out of 10, like, you know what I mean? Like, it was just so good. And then the wedding scene with Jack Sparrow and this like guy and this lady on Hangman Bay or whatever, that was so unnecessary. I don't even get the point of that. That was stupid and kind of offensive, and just, they really fumbled the bag. They kept like, we want to get back to the roots. Well, you missed it by a mile. You missed the roots by a mile. Watch Black Pearl again. What are we doing? I don't know. It just, they've lost the sauce, that's for sure. The random Paul McCartney cameo was something else. That was fun. That was cool. Don't know why it was there, but okay. My favorite part is probably Barbosa revealing-ish to Karina that he's her dad. Like, that's a nice reveal moment. My least favorite part is probably Jack freaking Sparrow in this movie. It's so bad. Watch again? No. I'm good. I had never seen this. I'm good never seeing it again. Recommend? No. Don't bother. If you like pirates, stick with the trilogy. I've said it multiple times. I'll probably just continue to stick with Black Pearl because it is, like, it's so good. Dead Man's Chest and At World's End are obviously very good, and it's great, like, they're back-to-back. They're really kind of one movie. Like, it makes sense. But Black Pearl is so, like, neat and tidy, and it's just so excellent. Stick with the trilogy. On Stranger Tides isn't terrible, but it's definitely nowhere near as good as the first 3, and this is just bad. Let's just not touch this. Yeah, not good, and I would have to say, oh, there is a post-credit scene, by the way, which is Will and Elizabeth. By the way, Elizabeth says nothing in this movie. They got her back, they filmed with Keira Knightley for a day, I think it was, and she doesn't even have lines. She runs up, sees Will, they hug, they kiss, and then there's a post-credit scene where Will and Elizabeth are in bed and he has a nightmare, or what he thinks is a nightmare about Davy Jones, and then you see that maybe he was actually there. And she doesn't speak in that either. Are you kidding me? That's everything I have. It's gonna be 6... Oh gosh, I have no idea, but tridents out of 10. Our total movie count is. Our parent death toll is. Crack count is still the same. If you want to keep up with what movie I'm watching when, follow me on all socials to find out what movie I'm watching when. Join Patreon? Oh, I put out videos every Monday, Friday, and sometimes Wednesday. Join Patreon. Got a tier starting at just $1. You get every video a week early. Tiers above that, daily trivia, monthly postcards, bonus content, names in the description of every video, etc. Buy merch. Merch is great. Merch is grand. Until next time, comment, like, subscribe, and I'm not in charge of your life. You are, so do you, and don't be Salazar about it? Probably, I guess.